first option that immediately jumps out to me is the Shure MV7. Keep in mind that DJI is just one brand. The reason that I went with this was because it's a little bit taller and slimmer than the Rode option. I'm going to notice that many guests that you invite, they end up wearing AirPods even when you tell them to maybe try to use a microphone. Your MV7 is not the only microphone that is compatible with iPhones. Wireless packs from DJI or Rode do a great job. I want to take a quick second to answer a great question that I got in the comments the other day, which is what mics can I use to record a podcast if I'm going to be recording on an iPhone or a tablet? Now, this is a great question because you might be using Zoom or something like Riverside.fm to record remotely. And there's a couple things you're going to want to keep in mind. The first option that immediately jumps out to me is the Shure MV7. Remember that this is Shure's new podcasting type microphone, which they've made accessible to not only be able to plug right into your laptop, but they also have a connector type which you can get, which allows you to connect into a USB-C input, which is what, the iPhone 15 has and many of the iPads have. Now, one of the things you're going to want to keep in mind is anything that plugs directly into the iPhone or tablet is going to have, not really controllable settings, right? So the Shure mic, for example, has an app that they make you download if you want to fine tune the settings. So if you want to turn up the gain a little bit, right, you're going to do that through the Shure app. So the Shure MV7 has knobs and gain control and things like that on the device itself, but keep in mind that not all devices do, right? So if you're plugging directly into the iPhone, what you hear right out the bat is what you're going to get, and it's typically going to require some editing in post-production to bring, the dialogue levels up or clean up the sound a tiny bit. The second choice that stands out to me and that's really popular is basically these DJI wireless lav mics. So one of the things that I don't like about this, right, is the look. So it's a little bit bulky, but all of the lav mics that are wireless are pretty bulky. Keep in mind, these are the first ones. So the second one that has come out, has better background noise cancellation and things like that. So, basically same idea though, right? One of the things I wanted to show you here though, is that you have a receiver. You can actually control some of the settings here, or at least watch to see how the sound is being picked up. And the next thing here is this connector I wanted to show you, okay? Which in this is for the USB-C output, right? So this, for example, would be able to connect directly in here, and this little slider would go into this receiver right here. So that is an option. This also comes with, as you can see, the ones for the older iOS devices, okay, so that it's compatible with that as well. Now, keep in mind that DJI is just one brand. The reason that I went with this was because it's a little bit taller and slimmer than the Rode option. The Rode wireless Pro lav mics are really popular as well. They are the square ones that you've probably seen in many videos. People put them onto their hats, onto their shirt, things like that. I personally just don't like the look of it. The performance is great, right? But the look of these wireless lav mics, for the most part, they're still very bulky and kind of distracting. But if that part does not bother you, then I definitely recommend going with these, because it's such a easy way to kind of get set up, and it's really not bulky to be able to travel with a set like this. That's going to lead me into my third recommendation, which is this off-brand lav mic that I got on Amazon. It was like $30. I wanted to try it just to see, how it performed. The reviews were decent. It was like a 4.5 or 4.6. One of the things that I liked about it though was the look, right? It was much slimmer, sleeker. But of course, you're trading off some performance capabilities compared to some of these, higher end microphone brands. So just keep that in mind. Things that you are plugging and playing into an iPhone or tablet. Some of them have apps where you can control the settings, but some of them don't. So expect to do some editing in post-production and always do a test run. Now, the final option, if you don't feel like checking any of these out, that I would recommend is going to be AirPods. So the AirPods are a classic go-to for many people that are probably going to be your guests too. So even if you have a nice microphone that you've set up for your show, you're going to notice that many guests that you invite, they end up wearing AirPods even when you tell them to maybe, try to use a microphone. So it's really not the end of the world as long as the AirPods are being used in an environment where there's not tons and tons of background noise. So you're not hearing a big, machine washer and dryer going off in the background, or, sirens and things like that. AirPods don't do, a terrible job, especially if you are going to be editing in post-production. You can clean it up very nicely to where it's not super, super noticeable, right? The only thing to consider when you are using, Bluetooth microphones, anything that is wireless, typically you have a nice look to it and everything, but if there's no receiver and you're just connecting through Bluetooth like you would with AirPods, you just want to make sure that you don't lose that connectivity in the middle of your recording, or your AirPods are fully charged up and have battery and things like that. But that's really the last resort, I would say, if you need something that's really simple. And quite honestly, I like the ones that aren't the pro ones, the basic AirPods, like the original ones. They're actually the best in my opinion. They don't go so far in your ear where you feel like, it really is drowning out your environment and you can't hear what's going on around you. So if you're looking for more of the noise canceling type feel, then you're going to want, the AirPod Pros. But definitely the regular ones do the trick. Anyway, the thing I want to leave you with is that keep the connector in mind. So anything that is USB-C or has a lightning connector that it, is compatible with, any microphone that discloses that they're good at doing that. So I just wanted to give you an example here that the Shure MV7 is not the only microphone that is compatible with iPhones and tablets and things like that. You just need to be looking out for these two connector pieces, right? So whichever device that you're using, you want to make sure that if it is USB-C, then, the microphone is compatible with USB-C. Make sure to check that the microphone is, though, before you actually go ahead and get it. Because let's say that you just get an adapter converter and you try to, connect your microphone into your phone through there. That's a hit or miss sometimes, especially if the microphone was not really intended for that use and it was intended to be plugged into, a laptop, for example, or it has an XLR input and you're using, let's say, a cheap adapter, right? An XLR to a USB-C adapter. In some cases, that's going to be a cause for concern. So you just want to make sure that, microphones like this, the wireless packs from DJI or Rode, do a great job. And again, the Shure MV7 has a great look to it. It reminds you of the Shure SM7B, even though it isn't. And the quality that you're going to get out of it is pretty solid. If you do find yourself wanting to connect, a mic that you already have with an XLR input like this, you're going to need an adapter like the Shure X2U, which basically, you put the XLR input here, and then you've got the USB end that would go into your computer. And then basically you would need another adapter that would be like a USB-C adapter, right? So one that would go on top of here, or a dongle, and then it connects directly into my iPhone or tablet. So you have ways of working around, getting a microphone to work with a phone, but it's just easier to go after some of the microphones that were designed mainly for that use. So anyways, I hope that was useful. Drop a comment if you have any further questions or you need help kind of designing your studio. I know equipment is being launched all the time. There's new gear coming out, every quarter. So I have a, sheet that I keep all of the recommended gear from microphones, lighting, cameras, all that stuff. I keep it up to date, especially as new gear comes out. Many of this stuff will stand the test of time. The Shure MV7 I can see being a contender for a long time to come. But you've got other things that are definitely making their way onto the market. If you want to be the first to know, definitely check that out. Get the Notion template below, and I'll let you know when new stuff drops that's worth checking out. I appreciate you hanging out. Again, check out the links in the description below or at mizhq.com, and I will see you next time.